we're more alike than we're not. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we're all just as good as our last at bat, right? And so it's like, you know, yeah, I mean, I might have been good a couple of days, but you know, who's good today, right? You know, it's like every day you wake up, you get in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That. I know that we use the word heroic, and I've seen, you know, you don't like to say what you did was heroic. Is it okay to say that what you did was extremely selfless and courageous?
You know, I think where we mess up with the word hero and heroic, it's an important word, right? But heroic, it identifies an action in a result, and it doesn't identify, like, you don't, like, the question for the heroic is, and when you look at this, is how long can you live off of what you've done? Like, how long do you get to live off the credibility of what you've done? Right. So I think heroic is a moment in time, but you have to decide if you live up to those ethos, right? Like, heroic is the results of you doing the right thing, doing the hard thing against adversity. It's you stepping up to the plate, you know, fighting for good, you know, and then the results of that sometimes is heroic, right? But like, heroic's a moment in time. It's not something you live with. You get to just validate the rest of your life to not do anything else, right? Like, you know, when people look at other people and they say, "Gosh, you've done enough for this country," it's like, no, you haven't. Like, nobody has, right? Like, we will all die and go to our graves in debt to this country of what it gives us, you know? And, you know, so I look at that word, and when I think about the word heroic, it's very important, right? It's very, very needed. And it's an identifying word, but it's identifying of an action, not of a person. Nobody does character, or nobody does, you know, just because you've done a heroic action doesn't mean you're a good person.
Right. Correct. Well, I love what you're saying too. It's like staying in the moment, right? It's like living on what we did in the past. It means something, but what are you doing today, right? And this for the everyday person as well. This isn't just for, you know, a Marine in battle on the front line. This is for an everyday person. It's what are you doing every day right now in the present to make those choices that make you heroic? Or
yeah, I mean, look, you know, you take a single mom who's out there still getting after it, raising her kids, you know, in the face of adversity, right? You talk about some of the hardest, I mean, that's way harder than war, right? And you know, who gets up and still gets after it, doesn't become to the victim to her circumstances, who, you know, I mean, that's heroic in my mind, right? You know, but like, all those things matter, is exactly living in the moment in time. You know, I look at it and it's, you know, when you're driving your car, and you know, look, it's called the road of life, and it's like driving your car. If you try to drive your car by looking in the rearview mirror, looking at what you just passed,
right,
what are you going to do? You're going to wreck.
You're going to crash.
Yeah, so you better be looking through that windshield. It only matters what's next. It's only that next mile that matters.
Yeah, I love that. Man, I love that. I love that a lot. Let me ask you a question. This is something I've been, you know, knowing about what happened that day and what you did, and what were you feeling, man, physically? What was that? Have you ever felt that feeling before in your life? Was it relatable to anything? Yeah, I mean, I'm still a firefighter, right? So, I mean, I still get on the back of a truck, and I still go get busy all the time. Yeah, I mean, you know, I you know, it's just a moment in time. You know, it's not, and it really comes down, you know, that day taught me more than what I'll tell you is what I learned from that day, and the changes that it made to me as a human being that day, you know, is probably the most, you know, it was probably the most life-changing day of my life. As far as a person, right? It taught me more about life. It showed me the very best of human beings. It showed me the very worst of human beings. It showed me, it's brought me to the depths of hell. It's brought me to the highest moments of my life. You know, all those things. And there's so many lessons to be learned. And it's our job to learn from those, though, right? And, you know, and so, you know, I don't, it's not like you feel some, you know, people always think that they're going to rise to the occasion. Right. And that's not the case. You're going to fall to the lowest standard of what you have lived by. Yeah. Right? Like when shit hits the fan, you don't rise to the occasion. You don't get Superman strength. You don't all of a sudden just become this incredible human being. Maybe you do momentarily, but like, you know, if it lasts for more than 2 seconds, you know, you're going to fall to, you know, the lowest standard of training or the lowest standard that you've lived by. And that's going to be what decides where you're at. Right. And so there was nothing crazy about the feeling that day. I mean, I was scared. Right. I mean, you know, anybody that ever goes to combat that says they're not scared, you know, you have to wonder if they're a sociopath. Right. I was scared for my teammates. You know, I was scared that I was never going to see them again. You know, there was a lot of emotions there, but at the end of the day, you know, I mean, it was just about getting through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, and looking for my teammates, you know?